So Dungeons and Dragons is within the category of, excuse me, tabletop role-playing games. So games in which you're playing out roles, you're taking on characters who are then acting out the gameplay.
Mhm.
And it's a bit of a collective storytelling process, I
Mhm.
would say. There's a dungeon master who is facilitating and who has the background information, maybe sort of a rough or specific idea of where the story is going. And then the other players are characters and show up in the game as those characters, speaking and acting as them. Um, there's, of course, some amount of chance in what happens with rolling
Mhm.
dice and seeing where things go. But it's very heavy on role play and imagination and creativity.
Yeah, that was great description. Yeah, the dice element is really cool because basically the dungeon master has done some level of world building to create kind of set the scene that you as characters are like moving through. And then whenever you basically make any kind of decision, you roll dice to determine like how that decision goes. So for example, if you're like walking along a trail and the dungeon master's like, you're walking along this trail and you see a mysterious big oak tree to your right. And one of the characters, maybe I'm in my character, I'm like, I'm gonna go take a look at that oak tree. Then the dungeon master might be like, okay, roll a 20-sided die for a perception check. And depending on what number you get, determines like what you notice, how good your perception is.
So there's a certain amount of um, risk and just luck involved.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then there's like spontaneity and like how you respond to the situations as they unfold.
Hmm.
So how do those games usually end? What is the goal?
That's a good question.
Is there a goal?
Well,
Just to
there
have
might
fun.
be, yes, I think the overall goal is to be having fun and to be like playing together.
Yeah.
Within the game, there might be a goal,
Mhm.
such as um,
To find treasure or
to
something.
find
Exactly.
treasure, or to rescue someone who's been kidnapped,
Yeah.
or
Solve a
to
mystery.
solve a mystery, solve a puzzle, save a town
Mm.
from whatever's going on. So there can be all kinds of goals that your party, which is the group of characters on this adventure together, are working towards.
Beautiful. So how is this going to merge together with psychodrama? And I saw Roll Hunger in your workshop. Are we going to be playing an abbreviated D&D, or what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't quite be playing the game in the sense of,
Right.
you know, sitting down to run a campaign. But we'll particularly be exploring choosing and getting into characters, and doing that as a way to explore the roles that we are hungry for in our lives.
And D&D has some sort of building blocks for characters that can be fun to work with that we're going to work with in our workshop. Like there are the sort of different origins of characters that are kind of classical Western fantasy based, like bards, and warlocks, and wait, what are the other ones? Druids.
Paladins and
Yeah,
clerics and
all kinds.
fighters,
Yeah.
and so maybe there's a way that it's hard to imagine yeah, stepping into a certain amount of power or accessing your own anger
Hmm.
in life that maybe you could tap into if you were stepping into the role of a barbarian
Yeah.
fighter,
Yeah.
who has the mechanism built in to really tap into that
Yeah.
rage.
Yeah.
Would you guys be willing to do a little role play, to do a little demonstration of how we might go about stepping into a magical character and how it could be helpful?
What if we
Uh,
like picked characters of our own to just like order a drink at a coffee shop
Hmm.
in roll?
I would like to be a dwarf that is a rogue,
That's
the
That's
one
awesome.
who's bringing the party down all the time,
that's
making
what
the
we're here
worst
for.
Love it.
decisions, and probably drunk most of the time.
Yeah, okay. And you know, like that's a beautiful beginning to the
It's a
character arc
beautiful
right there.
thing.
What was coming up for you guys?
think I might be a halfling barbarian.
Oh, cool.
So really tiny, but with a lot of attitude.
A lot of attitude, yes. Well, to be honest, I was thinking about the character I used for my family campaign, who is a half-orc barbarian. So yeah, a really, really tall, really big, like, fighter character. This particular character is like morally confused, a little bit chaotic, like, and impulsive.
A lot of
It'll be a fun
talking
mix.
to aggressive
Exactly.
energy in this room.
The bar better watch out.
Yeah, so we're here. We're in a like maybe a dusty little town.
Yeah.
And each of us finds ourselves in the local tavern. So from here we can say hello and introduce ourselves. Excuse me, you're taking up more than your fair share at the bar.
This
Can
is the
can I
size
get in
of
here?
my
I need a drink.
body.
I need a drink.
Pull up a chair.
It's excessively large.
Well, I can tell you that there's not going to be anything left.
What do you mean? Who even are you?
Listen, I've had a long day and I don't want to deal with it.
I'm gonna find somewhere else to have my beer. Can I have a beer, please?
Barkeep. I was here
Barkeep.
first.
They're so cute.
Drinks. You is the last thing I am. Do you know who I am? Do you know? Do you know?
I'm finding out. But tell us more.
I am Momo. I am Momo the Mighty.
Listen, mighty don't need to say they're mighty. So you're going to have to do a bit more to convince us.
Who are you? Maybe it's because you don't have a title, because you've never been worthy of one.
Wow.
Worthy. I've done my fair share. You see that heap outside? I just dragged that in from the last mission. You don't want to open the bag. It's been sitting out there for some time.
I did smell something on the way
I
out.
was gonna say,
yeah,
that so the stink is you.
it's coming from you.
Yeah, and I'm proud of my stink. So
Well, I don't know
mighty
it.
enough for me. You what? What's so funny to you?
I want to be in a campaign with you, Courtney. I've like pivoted over the bar and grabbed a barrel of ale and just like set it down on top.
Where were they hiding that?
You know what?
I'm making a new spigot in this barrel and filling up my mug again. All right. Well, I think I'm about to turn in. It's been a time.
Maybe
Well-
I'll see you here tomorrow.
I don't know if you've got anything interesting to say.
Oh, I have so much interesting to say. So, see you all at breakfast.
Good night.
Probably like late lunch. See you then.
Beautiful.
So what was coming up for you guys when you were playing those roles?
Great
What a
psychodrama
great
question.
What was coming up for you, Ellie?
I was like, I was struggling to like get into the role. Yeah, it actually I struggled with getting into that. I struggle with getting into that role. I've had to really practice. And I'm out of practice. And I think that's part of what was coming up for me.
Mm.
I wonder if we would have taken a minute to walk around our spaces as our characters and then sat back down, if that would have been helpful.
And so in the workshop at the conference, there will be a lot more spaciousness for exactly that, for really getting into the role and characters that you'll be accessing. Yeah.
So what was coming up for you, mighty little halfling?
Yeah. I don't know where that character came from. Not someone I've played or thought of before. But I think fun to get into the headspace of being in the world, maybe being seen as small, but like denying that reality and like puffing up my chest and like having a very like a big presence and sense of my own importance, which I think is definitely not maybe my day-to-day that I access. So it was like fun to get into that headspace. That I wonder that character might be coming back. Yeah. What about you, Courtney?
I loved being I didn't expect that role to be condescending, but it was a bit of a smart ass. So that was fun.
Yes, you played that well.
And it felt like I felt like a he rather than accessing more of my femininity. So that was fun to just kind of like, you know, not that I see men that way. But I saw this male dwarf that way.
Yeah.
So it was just fun.
I think sometimes with what comes up, it can be really cool to notice, oh, well, I have this strength that shows up in life. And it's okay that it shows up here too, and that I can recognize that. Maybe it's like a gift for storytelling or creativity or facilitation. But sometimes that can be an opportunity to say, hey, I really struggle to let go of a certain something in how I show up with people.